Our next talk is a team talk, the Fluxnet Coordination Project, a new initiative to support global network-enabled science. This talk is being led by Kyle Delwiche.
Hi, hello. It's actually been led by me, but it's a team talk, so there's no real leader. It's myself, Kyle Delwiche, and Kim Novick and Dave Moore, who are going to present to you today about a new project called the Fluxnet CoOp. And that stands for the Fluxnet Coordination Project. This is a project funded by NSF just a few months ago to provide a pretty large $2 million of funding to support Fluxnet for the next 2 years, or next 5 or 6 years. And so we are very excited to be here and to tell you about what is in store under this project in the coming years. So how do I advance here? Okay, so just to talk briefly about Fluxnet and the history of Fluxnet and how that relates to the Fluxnet CoOp project. Right? So Fluxnet, as you're all aware, is a long-running endeavor that is primarily a grassroots coalition of the community, or various communities around the world, contributing Flux data to the centralized Fluxnet initiative. So starting back in 1995 with the Latwil meeting, which set the stage for the first formation of Fluxnet in 96, 97. And there have been various iterations of Fluxnet since then, various meetings, etc. over time. And Fluxnet has been supported by various different funding sources. So initially there was NASA and DOE support, and NASA was primarily interested in Flux data as a ground source, ground truthing for the remote sensing missions. And then DOE saw the value in Fluxnet for model development and understanding ecosystems. And then more networks began to form around the world and join the larger Flux network. And then Fluxnet was very lucky to get NSF funding under Dennis Baldocki's guidance from the Research Coordination Network, and then DOE support in about 2015 to help you, the community, bring the Flux data together to make it much, much more than the sum of its parts. So now Fluxnet has been funded through the Fluxnet CoOp through NSF to bring Fluxnet into the next generation of the Fluxnet initiative. So we're very excited about this. Now, before I get into the weeds on what this Fluxnet CoOp is going to do over the next few years, I just want to emphasize one thing, and that's what we're not funded to do. So that primarily is we're not funded to be Fluxnet, okay? So we are the Fluxnet CoOp, and we want to help coordinate and support Fluxnet, but Fluxnet, we're not Fluxnet, right? You are Fluxnet. You, the community of people who are measuring the data, submitting it to the centralized repositories, downloading it, using it, publishing it, and deciding the scientific directions which the community finds most interesting, more productive to go. You are Fluxnet, and we are here to support you. Okay, so the Fluxnet CoOp is our mission is to do everything we can to help the Fluxnet community, aka you, and to move forward over the next 5-6 years and really design the next generation of Fluxnet science. So how we're going to do that is through various different initiatives, and these are housed in 3 different centralized themes: education, data development, and community building. So under education, we have some initiatives that Cal will talk about later when she parses out how the funding is split between different initiatives. And these are secondments and scholar exchange, where we will support scientists both primarily in the US, but also abroad, to go to a host institute for a period of time. It could be 2 weeks, it could be 6 weeks, whatever is deemed necessary for scholarly exchange with communities in foreign countries. And this is to build collaborations between different networks, between different scientists in different countries, to really help Fluxnet become an international and integrated network of networks. So these regional exchange experiences where we support students, postdocs, scientists in the US to go abroad or abroad to come to the US are really central to the Fluxnet CoOp project. We also have a strong partnership with Flux Course, and Dave and Kim are going to talk about that in just a minute. And we have various diversity and inclusion initiatives baked into our education plan to help diversify and become more inclusive within Fluxnet, and that's at all levels of Fluxnet. So really decentralizing Fluxnet governance is a key goal that we want to achieve under this project. And so under data development, of course, Fluxnet is one aspect of it is data repository. There are lots of people around the world working on Fluxnet data and making the data repository even better and bring it into the next generation. So we're designed to help everybody do that. And that can be, through workshops that we will support directly, through subcommittees that we will support, and different initiatives to help design the next generation of the Fluxnet data repository. We can also think about how to support novel data types, such as the methane initiative, possibly N2O, and developing things that make it easier to interact with the data. And again, these are all things that we will help you do. So we're going to not do it directly, but we will support you to do it. And then perhaps most importantly, community building. So we have funding for conferences, Fluxnet and biannual conferences, 2 workshops a year, and various sessions at AGU, etc., and lots of different initiatives to support early career scientists. And we view this as a particularly important mission of the Fluxnet CoOp, is to support early career scientists. So how will we do that, and how can you get involved? So we have we just started, so we're putting together the Fluxnet Community Council. So this is a council that will make decisions regarding the funding and priorities of the Fluxnet CoOp. I'm the chair for the first period of time, and we will assign or look for an international co-chair. Then we have the network leads of Dennis Baldocchi and Dario Papali, who have been really the intellectual leads behind Fluxnet over previous decades. And then education and outreach lead, Kim Novick, who will speak about more initiatives around that in just a minute. We'll also have regional network representatives. Now, from the proposal, we had 4 2-year seats from the regional networks, just to ensure that this is a diverse and globally integrated community council, where we have governance representation from all of the different actors within Fluxnet. We have an early career liaison to ensure that our early career initiatives are successful and meeting the needs of early career scientists as those needs are identified by those early career scientists. And then we also have a data integration lead, Stefan Metzger from NEON, to leverage the efforts that NEON has put into data integration across various data types and to help Fluxnet advance their approaches to doing that. And of course, we'll have lots of subcommittees, and this is where the broader community will be asked to identify what the needs are for subcommittees and who would like to volunteer their time and efforts to serve on subcommittees to make decisions for a whole variety of things regarding how funding under this project is distributed and how we make decisions about where Fluxnet should go into the future. So with that, I will hand over to Kim, Dave, and Kyle, who will talk through some specific aspects of the project. And we really are hoping to leave some time at the end to answer any questions you might have.
Great. So many of you are probably familiar with Flux Course. Perhaps many of you have attended it. For those that are less familiar, it's a 2-week annual short course run in the summer, held every year that it's been run at Niwot Ridge in Colorado. I think that the course has been run 11 times. Dave would know for sure, as he's been involved since the beginning. We've trained, my involvement came on as co-instructor back in 2016, but really Dave has been steering the ship for a long time. Since it started, we've trained over 300 early career scientists from all over the world, and the courses involve participation of dozens of volunteer instructors, again from all over the world. We have well-developed and deep partnerships with industry, and in particular Campbell Scientific and LICOR. And we've had historic support from Ameriflux, which we've used to fund scholarships for students. One is named in honor of Ray Looning, who was previously a Flux course instructor. we also have a diversity fellowship. And we've invested some time in the last year or two on video content. So many of the Flux Course lectures are available online. I think it's useful to think of Flux Course as a community of practice, right? Which means it's not simply a 2-week thing that happens every summer. We involve a large number of scientists from a wide range of career stages in the execution of Flux Course. And we also try to provide a lot of avenues for engagement and connection for our alumni. And I personally think that this is just so important, particularly when it comes to meeting some of our diversity goals, right? To be able to provide early career scientists, and especially those from underrepresented backgrounds, with what feels like a real community can be such a boon to their careers. We've had gender parity at Flux Course since it started, which on the one hand seems quite encouraging. On the other hand, I noticed a high profile flux synthesis paper published today still had female representation at less than 20% of the co-authors. So we still have a long way to go. And even more work needs to be done thinking about diversifying with respect to race and geographic location. The content itself covers in the first week the fundamentals of eddy covariance theory and measurements. And in the second week, we transition into flux synthesis and content on modeling and model data integration for flux prediction. Next slide. Back in 2019, we thought after 10 years of running the course, it might be a good time for a strong refresher of the curriculum. So I do want to acknowledge the Flux Course Curriculum Committee pictured here, who invested a lot of time in rethinking and better connecting all of the different elements of the curriculum. And we expect this work to continue into the future. So if your face is on the screen, expect an email from us before too long. We'll be picking back up. We had to take a little pause in the course due to COVID for the last year or two. Next slide. And with the co-op project in particular, we're really excited because it is ensuring the sustainability of the course into the foreseeable future, at least of 5 years. In addition, the grant will provide support for 5 additional students in terms of scholarships every year, which again will help us meet some of those diversity goals. And it will support travel for 2 new international instructors each year. Let's see. Some other new initiatives, in addition to continuing to refresh the curricula, we think it's a great opportunity to train Flux Course instructors in anti-bias training and DEI issues. We're looking forward to recruiting from an even more diverse pool of applicants in the future and excited to work with the AmeriFlux DEI committee to that end. There are opportunities to be involved with the course administration as an instructor, as part of the curriculum committee. And those are available to scientists from a range of career stages. So reach out or stay tuned. Flux Course is a lot of fun, whether you're a student or an instructor. So we hope to see you at the next one, summer of 2022.
Thanks, Kim. And so I'd just like to introduce Kyle Delwiche, who many of you may or may not know. Kyle was a postdoc for the methane project in Rob Jackson's lab and has agreed to come on board as a postdoc for the Fluxnet CoOp. So you will be hearing a lot from her in the future. And so thank you, Kyle. We're very excited to have you on board and to hear you describe the Fluxnet CoOp budget distribution.
Yeah, thank you, Trevor. I'm quite happy to be here. Yeah, so I'm going to walk through the pools of money that we have. We're really fortunate to have quite a large reserve of money to basically move scientists all over the globe to facilitate networking and knowledge exchange. And so the first bit of this pie here, this is, Kim talked about this. This is money for Flux Course. These are all values for year 1, but it's similar for the 5 years that Flux Course is funded, Fluxnet CoOp is funded for. So under the Flux Course umbrella, we have money for 5 US participants to fund their attendance at Flux Course, and then 2 international instructors, as Kim mentioned. Next slide. And the next, the biggest portion of our budget, and Trevor mentioned this, is this secondment program. So the word refers to a temporary placement of an employee at another institution. I saw a question about that in the chat. But this is a really exciting opportunity for each year 5 US-based scientists, and these will be early career scientists, to go abroad for a 2 to 6 week stay at an international host institution And we think that'll be a wonderful opportunity for knowledge transfer. Next piece. We will have 2 domestic workshops per year in the US, and we will have funding for 6 US scientists early career to attend these workshops, and for 4 international scientists to come as well. We also have money for networking in the US, and this is to bring international scientists to the US to host institutions to stay for a period of up to a week, again, to facilitate that knowledge transfer and network building. And then lastly, so over the course of Fluxnet, there will be 3 international project meetings. The first of which will happen in 2022. This will be hosted by the European Flux Network and ICOS. And so we have funding for 4 scientists, international scientists, to attend that meeting. Next slide. Right, so that was the budget. We're really excited to have all these wonderful resources to move people around the globe, COVID willing, of course. There are many ways to get involved. We have their mailing lists. We encourage you to tweet about this, raise awareness. As Trevor mentioned, the Early Career Scientist Network is a wonderful resource for early career scientists. We will be having the synthesis workshops, and there are opportunities to propose and lead these events. We have the Flux Course Fellows program that Kim discussed, and the opportunities to get involved with the organization of this as well. And then we have the Secondman program and the community meetings. So really a wonderful array of opportunities to get involved for everybody. And we really hope that you do take advantage of this opportunity. And then lastly, we encourage you to spread the word. Next slide, Trevor. So please get the word out. So this project officially kicks off at the beginning of 2022, and we want everybody in the Flux world to know about this and to be aware of these wonderful opportunities to bring people together and to advance the state of our knowledge. Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle and Kim, and thank you all for listening. We're happy to take any questions. We're a little over time. Just to say that this meeting, the AmeriFlux meeting, has shown us over the past 2 years the power and utility of virtual engagement as well. So although we have a lot of funds to fly a lot of people around and increase in-person interaction, which I'm sure people will be excited about post-COVID, whenever that is, we're also going to have a lot of virtual engagement too. With that, I'll close and say, yeah, thank you all.